Valve unintentionally breaking the market, an interesting and exclusive look into some data you need to see if you're a case investor, and we're going to be talking about what's been going on with stickers. Now, if you tried to list an item on the Steam market in the past couple days, you were probably hit with a pretty interesting realization that your item most likely did not make it there. Now, the weird thing about this is it's not exclusive to any items in my knowledge. However, the items that are mainly affected are those with float values, and I'll tell you why after a quick word from today's sponsor. The sponsor for today's video is SkinSwap. Now, SkinSwap is the premier place for CSGO skins and Rust skins. They've got a trading feature with highly competitive rates. They've got a super easy to use selling feature. And if you're looking to deposit today, you're going to be getting a 40% bonus on your deposit. And the best thing, if you sign up with the link in the description, you're going to be getting a free case worth up to $150. So what are you waiting for? Join today and fill all of your CSGO skin needs. And the reason the drastic change happens is because of the way items are sold on the Steam market. You can either have an item that looks like this, where you have to specifically buy the skin you're looking for, or you can have one like this, where all the items are the exact same and all you have to do is click buy and you're assigned a seller. Now, these are very important because the distinction here is the fact that people are much more willing to put in a buy order on items that are all the same. Whereas we look at items with float values and you can see a lot of examples coming by of different price ranges between the buy order price and the price that they're selling at, sometimes up to 50%, like with this Phantom Disruptor here. It's a crazy difference, and in my opinion, it's one of the reasons we're seeing such large gaps between the items and specifically ones with float values. Now, the one caveat with this is the fact that you can sell to a buy order, but you cannot go ahead and sell on a price that's not a buy order. Therefore, placing a buy order at this time could be very beneficial to you. Could be the only way you can come out ahead in this and make a little bit of extra profit. This is not an example where there's a ton of extra profit to be made, but if you find an item that doesn't have a ton of buy orders, like some of the ones we previously mentioned, you really want that skin or you think you can flip it for a profit, it might be an okay time to put in a buy order. However, one area that has a ton of opportunity is the case market, and we've got some exclusive data that is very interesting. Now, a couple months ago, I shared this graph, and this graph is very important because it shows the relative difference in supply and demand. We can see that we've been in a constant deficit for the past year or so, and that's not really unexpected considering we're opening up so many cases. However, I haven't shared with you the updated version of this graph, and it's extremely interesting. Now, here's the updated graph, and if you're not aware, this is the point right here where the Anubis package was released. The Anubis package is not included in this because we're talking about physical containers, and the Anubis package is just that, a package. However, one interesting date I do still want to point out is this right here, and that's when Valve went ahead and changed the drop pool. If we can see beforehand, it was on a significant uptrend, almost straight up, relatively speaking. But since they've went ahead and made that change, we're starting to round off a little bit, almost deciding to go back and start increasing the deficit once again. Now, what does this mean for you? Well, if we want to look at cases during the time where the deficit was starting to become smaller, you're going to notice a very significant trend, and that's the fact that they all got significantly cheaper. The demand dropped off quite significantly, and it's very evident that looking at any of these graphs, that's exactly what happened. However, the fact that we're starting to potentially see this round off and potentially start to increase again definitely opens up that opportunity for some of these cases to get a little bit more expensive again. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, and looking at the case unboxing numbers, it still seems like there is definitely a lack of demand. However, it seems like we could possibly get to the point now where it's starting to possibly go stagnant for prices or even start to slightly increase once again. We don't know, but it's a possibility, and I think honestly looking at this data, it's a reasonable interpretation. And one of the things that I think has been grossly overlooked is the fact that these rare cases are running out. The rare cases are dropped significantly less than I think people actually realize. Looking at something like this, you can see active duty cases make up 99% of the drop pool. However, rare cases make up 1%, and there's so many items inside of that rare case 1% that your odds of getting a rare case are less than they are of unboxing a knife. You have very little odds of getting some specific item inside of the rare cases that very few are actually dropped every single day, and therefore so many are being unboxed to the point that the amount that is being generated is actually minimal. Now, if you're wondering where I get this data from, I've actually got a secret case insider, and they've come up with a very interesting discovery since Valve's latest update. That's the fact that CSGO trade-up fillers are on a very interesting increase in supply and a very significant decrease in price. Ever since that update came out where the case and the skin were linked together, they went ahead and started tracking the trade up filler supply, and they found an increase of almost 100,000 of just the factory new SG503 anodized navies registered on CSGO float. It's a very interesting prediction, and they came up with a couple reasons. The first of which is they thought that potentially people were very incentivized to go ahead and get this drop because now they knew the case was coming with it. It's almost a guaranteed dollar on average to go ahead and get this drop. However, the other reason that this might be happening is potentially the people who are botting and they're going ahead and getting a case, and now they're getting a free skin with it, whereas before they weren't leveling up because they didn't need to, so they weren't getting that trade up filler or whatever skin or graffiti they got. Now with this, we don't really know exactly what the full story is. However, if we want to look at the price points for a lot of these straight up fillers, especially some of the ones on the cheaper end, we can see that they're dropping significantly. In my series where I bought items, I picked up some trade up fillers and they're down almost 25% in just the past 2 weeks, specifically the MP7 anodized navy, which is a crazy decrease for trade up fillers that are usually relatively similar in price. They don't drop a ton, they drop slowly over time. However, the one area we have not talked about yet is the sticker market, and the sticker market is still very intriguing the way it's going on. If we want to talk about Paris, Paris is still retaining a lot of its value inside of its hollows. The hollows are still sitting at a relatively similar price, and therefore the ROI of these capsules is sitting at a very similar price to what we mentioned. Now, one thing I want to make sure you do not forget is the fact that we potentially may be able to buy these capsules for much cheaper. That's because we can already see the developments happening with the Turkish people and their Turkish currency, how they're able to buy it and make about a 1.5 cent profit right now. And if we head over to Buff, we can see that some of the capsules have gone up in price just because we're so new into this sale, potentially leading to a very significant increase in the people who are going to try and take advantage of this in the Turkish currency. Just remember that Valve will give you an end date and there's no reason to buy right now. That's not what I want to focus in on. I want to focus in on Stockholm and Antwerp because they are moving a significant amount, specifically a lot of the popular hollow stickers. Looking at the Stockholm mouse sticker, you can see that it's up. Specifically, the Tai Lu and the Entropic are up as well. And if we want to look at Antwerp, we can see that the Cloud9 hollow there is also a very significant mover. It's such an interesting predicament because we're starting to see a lot of the Stockholm and Antwerp stickers move, and in my opinion, this could directly be because we're starting to see a lot of these Paris hollows actually retain their values. Because people are seeing that the Paris hollows aren't dropping down in price, they're starting to look at some of the older stickers, and we can look at some of the graphs I have in my inventory specifically designed for Stockholm, Antwerp, and Rio, and we can see that Stockholm, which is the blue, has absolutely exploded. Antwerp has stayed about the same for the capsules, and Rio has decreased quite significantly, even though it's a little bit hard to see. But that's all I got. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.